Hello YouTube, Darman Flame here, and today I got for you guys a podcast, and I'm going to be talking about the bands that Showdown made over since the opening of X and Y. And today with me, the guest I have on this podcast, I have some friends from Showdown. So would you all please say hello?
Hello there, this is Powerfly.
Hi, it's DTF like Caillou, also known as Landers.
It's Keegan Fogler, Swagmaster 5000, best mobile player ever.
Sure, like
Gen 3 Master Race.
Alright, so to open up, the first Pokemon we're going to be talking about that was banned, which is the first Pokemon that was banned, of course, was Mega Gengar. And how I feel on that is that, Mega Gengar needed that ban due to the fact that he had Shadow Tag. He could trap any wall he wanted, kill it off, and then pretty much, cause the opponent's team to be missing that needed Pokemon in some cases, I guess I should say, something like that. But he can trap them in anything that he can't. If he switched into that could kill it, he could easily Destiny Bond kill. So he could just he's trapped in a wall or he's defeating something that could kill him. So either both ways, Gengar was claiming a kill. Excuse me. He was claiming a kill every single game, just about. So in my opinion, Gengar needed that ban. It was or unless Smugger wanted a broken Mater. But yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I think basically everything he said in case why it was banned, just because no matter what, if you bring Mega Gengar, you are guaranteed a kill because any wall can be taken down. Even things like Blissey won't be an easy kill, but they can't do anything back, so eventually it will be whittled to the point where it will go down. So the things that can stop your other threats in your team won't be encumbered at all.
So pretty much what they both said is which is what I agree with. So I really had nothing to say.
Yeah, I think they highlighted the main points about the Mega Gengar thing. The fact that it doesn't, the thing is with Mega Gengar, it didn't need to attack to deal with anything it wanted. Like Cosmo mentioned Blissey. Well, it's like, okay, I can perish Song, and you're staying in regardless, so 3 turns and the situation's already dealt with.
Yeah.
It's like, regardless of what was in front of it, it was gonna die. No matter what Pokemon it was. They could pick and choose any Pokemon it wanted to and kill it. It was just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in a metagame, honestly.
Is it alright if I add one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, well, another thing, before, even though it was labeled a quick ban, it wasn't banned even sooner, because if you play Pokemon Go in the early stages of the metagame, people were using it as 4 attacks, and oh, it's not even broken, it just says high special attack, and it can move pool.
Yeah.
That's not, and then when people started using the pattern correctly, it became a real serious problem.
Yeah, and they would also take out offensive threats like Melody Twins, stuff like that, fast, hard-hitting Pokemon, and they would just take them out and just pave the way for other Pokemon on your team.
True.
Yeah, once people actually started using Gengar, yeah, that's it. I didn't have anything else.
Alright, moving on to the next Pokemon is Mega Lucario. And Mega Lucario, I guess I should go ahead and talk about him. In my opinion, I really didn't want the Mega Lucario ban. But then again, I guess I say that because I used him, and I really, as I sit back and look at it, Mega Lucario was a threat indeed, because I remember Kaz telling me earlier that, there was no counters for Mega Lucario, and I just realized that all the games we played, there was no counters for him. Someone had to die just to pull in anyone who could do anything to Mega Lucario. So there was someone dying before you pull in something to take out the Mega Lucario, which is, bad. So, like I'm saying, Mega Lucario, now that I look at it, he did need the ban because he was just a powerful Pokemon, and, he kind of wrecked the game. So, yeah, in my opinion, Mega Lucario needed that ban, but did I want to see it? No, I didn't want to see it, but, I mean, he honestly, coming from me, he did need a ban. Looking at his power, he could either be an special attacker or an attacker, and you had no way of knowing that, so that's how I feel.
I have like I agree with that. It's pretty clear cut why Mega Lucario is banned, but I have a more dynamic opinion than some people do, because there's a lot of things to compare this to. They say, well, you can often tell when it's physical or special, and comparatively to say how you can often tell if a Charizard is Y or X, physical or special, and that's not really the case because of how diverse OU was at the given time, or even now things can run multiple sets. That's why they are OU. So when you look at the grand team, it's not as clear cut as far as synergy is when you have the two Charizards, so you can't really make that comparison, which is a common argument that people make. Mega Lucario, say you have, it switches in on your Blissey, you have to switch out. Whether it's special or physical, you don't know. On that turn you switch out, as obvious as it may be, you don't have a choice. By default, that Lucario is at +2, and at that point you can't do anything about it. It's over. There's nothing. If it's special and you have an AV Gudra, you might be okay, maybe. But other than that, you're done.
Yeah. Basically.
Well, I agree with both of them, and that Lucario was like it was broken because you don't know if it's a physical or special, and even unboosted, it can clean to a KO stuff with close combat unless you're running like something insanely defensive. Well, I'd even think defensive Powdowns to a KO if I'm right. Am I right or no?
I can calculate if necessary. Are we going physical or special?
Physical, and I don't remember. They run Jolly, and it also had amazing priority. It had Vacuum Wave, Bullet Punch, Extreme Speed, and it was just all priority boosted by adaptability except Extreme Speed, but Extreme Speed has +2.
Close combat. Close combat is a possible to a KO.
So even on like something like a Power Down, just destroys it. Blissey, I think, is to KO by a +2 Aura Sphere. I think and it has a completely diverse move pool, and Edgequake, Elemental Punches, Dark Pulse, Shadow Ball, so it can even run, it doesn't even have to run Dark Pulse, it can just run Shadow Ball and just get perfect type coverage, and just, everything can just die, and it's just...
Yeah, I think they brought up all the obvious points. The problem with Lucario is, as Kaz said, as soon as Lucario comes in, you're forced to switch out. And when you switch out and it gets +2, unless you have I don't know, some random Scarf or Earthquake, you're not gonna kill it. There's just no chance of you surviving at that point.
Even
because it's when the person's gonna build their Lucario, they're gonna build their Lucario to take out certain threats depending on their team and judge their coverage accordingly. And most of the counters, if say they wanted to run Assault as Gudra or whatever, and they ran physical, they're gonna just run Ice Punch. I saw no reason for it to stay. There was no reason should be allowed to stay. It was too good.
So how you feel? That's it? Is that it? Any extra points?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to add one support claim to what Lando said as I did the additional calc. An Aura Sphere at +2 has an 18% chance to OHKO a Blissey.
OHKO?
OHKO.
Huh?
See, that's
Wow.
pure power.
That's ridiculous.
That's...
Ignorant earlier, I was saying, Mega Lucario getting in that band, but now that I look at it from that point, he is powerful.
And I think another problem is that people don't realize. They think something like a Scarf Pokemon is a counter. That's not a counter, that's a check.
Yeah.
Mamoswine is a check to Landorus. Can't switch in on Landorus, but it can kill Landorus if it comes in. People said Scarf Drill, that's a counter. No, it's not. It dies to any fighting move. Any sort of powerful Scarfer, it can't switch in. Even Talonflame's 2 KO'd and then is outsped and dies to Bullet Punch. So you can't even... It outspeeds Talonflame. And the standard add-on is Talonflame. If you're in Jolly Talonflame, then you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, if you're running Jolly Talonflame, then
Double check, though.
you shouldn't be arguing with us right now.
I believe
It's a check. There's a lot of checks.
most Pokemon have a decent amount of checks,
And also,
but if
sorry.
if they don't have counters, there's like you can have as many checks as you want, but if you don't have counters, then there's often not a good way to deal with the Pokemon.
also, Mega Lucario did get a defense buff. So, like, let's say it's at full HP, you switch in something to sack it, bring in your Conkeldurr there. Oh, it dies to Mach Punch. It doesn't die to Mach Punch.
Yeah.
Unless you're running Banded, which is retarded, it doesn't die. It has enough. It has decent defense bulk to live at least a decently a priority move.
You know,
And
it doesn't
is
even
it
take
like-
that much.
Was it like one of the faster Megas? Yeah. Well, no, I think it's a 2 KO if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
It lives
Yeah.
it.
Mach Punch,
And, like-
it does live it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It lives.
And it was one of the faster Megas, right? It's faster than both Charizards. It's faster than Pinsir.
Yeah, it's 112.
It outspeeds Mega Blaziken, I know that, but not before the speed boost. But
Okay.
Yeah.
but still, it was a deserved ban. It was expected, and people who bitch about it saying there's a ton of checks, that there were no counters. So we can just move on, I guess.
Move on. All right. So the next Pokemon we're going to be moving on to is
Yeah.
Mega Kangaskhan, and that Pokemon, you know, my opinion, I really didn't get to using Mega Kangaskhan much, but as I could see on other teams as I faced it back in the day, actually I was very trash OU player, so I can't really even speak on it really, honestly. But you know, it was pretty obvious to see Power Punch. Could you raise his attack stat? As that's how I saw it. I saw many people using Power Up Punch. Not to mention the little baby thing. His ability allows it to get a second hit on you. So you're already up at times +2, hitting something with the Power Up Punch, and then after that you have priority, which is Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch is hitting you twice. You know, priority, the attack stat is boosted, if I am correct, I believe. I may be wrong, but the attack stat is boosted. He has great, well, he only has one priority move, but I mean, it still does a lot of damage to things that may check it. So, you know, Mega Kangaskhan, in my opinion, it needed that ban. I mean, his move pool is kind of, you know, his move pool, in my opinion, is good, but I mean, hey, that's how I feel about it.
I would actually, when X and Y, the meta was released, Kangaskhan was actually my favorite Pokemon at the time because I was an avid tier ship player and that thing did massive work. So when it got Mega, I was really excited. But yeah, I used it on every team and it was pretty broken because Power Up Punch is basically stacked damage with fighting coverage, basically a damaging sword stance that can hit a lot of things for good damage. And the common counter argument to make Kangaskhan's viability is ghost types. Well, there's two things I can say to that. One, if you're running some type of defensive ghost with Will-O-Wisp, and if that became a prevalent thing in the metagame, I mean, you could just run Crunch, make Kangaskhan. I mean, that would probably be a thing, and what do you do at that point? Another thing is that it has Scrappy before it Mega Balls, so you can pretty much thrash it if you want to with Stab Return. I mean, it still has, I forgot the attack stat, it's like 100 something, but it's strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it still messes the day up.
Yeah.
Like, it's not living.
Oh, Kangaskhan's 95.
Yeah, 95.
95.
Well, like, well, like, in my opinion on it is like, it's absurdly strong. It hits twice on every move. So like Kaz said, it has a damaging sword dance. It also has dark fighting and normal, which is good because you can hit the ghost type of dark moves. And the only like checks, like Kaz said, is ghost type. So that's why Sableye was OU for a little bit. People said Gengar with substitute was a good thing to have for it. If it carries Crunch, you die. Like, there's no, and then people are forced to run stuff like defensive Garchomp with Rough Skin and Rocky Helmet, or Ferrothorn with Iron Barbs and Rocky Helmet to just stack up on damage. And this is gonna sound stupid, but I've seen people run Fire Blast and Ice Beam just to not take damage from Rocky Helmet. If you might be like, oh, I have a Sash, I can live it. You can't live it. it hits twice. It breaks through your sash.
Yeah.
I have Donphan with 30. Donphan's trash to begin with.
Yeah. I don't think
That was brutal.
I think the big problem I think I had with Mega Kangaskhan was the fact that your substitutes didn't work, your sash didn't work, and like as Lando brought up the common argument with the land, I mean with not the five landers, with the Ferrothorn and the Garchomp. Well, they ran Earthquake most of the time anyway, and a +2 Earthquake's gonna just destroy either of those two Pokemon regardless. Like when I used Mega Kangaskhan from the start of OU until it got banned, and it was easily the best Pokemon in the metagame. Like if your team was was built around abusing Mega Kangaskhan and stopping your opponent from winning with Mega Kangaskhan. And I felt like the fact that the metagame was so focused around it just made it way too ridiculous to be allowed.
Like, I have another thing to say about Mega Kangaskhan is like, this, damn, I forgot.
You know, why do you remember, I'll cover you guys, back when we were talking about Donphan and Power Up Punch, once you're at +2, return actually kills the Donphan, so even though Donphan is completely irrelevant, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just sticking that out there, you know,
that's
return kills.
I just remembered. Thank you, Shiku, for recovering me. Another thing, people say it doesn't belong in Ubers. I think it just kills Lugia, even with multi-scale. And another thing is, it doesn't even have to run offensive.
What?
Yeah, it doesn't even have to run. I remember seeing it breaks, because it breaks through the multi-scale and just kills it after that. And then, you don't even have to run offensive. There's defensive Mega Kangaskhan's. Seismic Toss do 200 HP every time.
From Showdown, Cal is saying that three hits to take out Lugia. I mean, you could be wrong, but I meant at +2, that's what I meant.
Yeah, +2, I was gonna say, yeah, +2 probably.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, +2 does.
And then, like, it's not even bad in Ubers, it's fucking awesome in Ubers. Like, you have double hitting Fake Out, you have extremely powerful return, like, why, there's no reason that, like, there's no reason to keep it in OU.
yeah.
But also, people, you can't judge the viability of something or where it should be based on how good it does in a ban list, because Ubers is not a tier, or at least it didn't start out that way. It's a ban list. So people say like, well, Mega Kangaskhan should be OU because it can't do anything in OU. I mean, on Ubers. Whether that's true or not, it's entirely illogical because it's put there because it's too good for OU. If it's garbage in Ubers, oh well, don't use it.
It's like, it was like Tornadus T last gen, it was like Lucario this gen. They didn't see the light of day. And they're like not even, like Tornadus T, it has no usage in Ubers last gen. I don't even think Landorus, when it got banned, I don't even think it got any much usage. Lucario doesn't get much usage. So it's
if you look at like this, like when spoke on Taj earlier, it's like it's a ban list first and then a tier second. And I think it's like one thing I think that should help you guys cement in your head why Mega Kangaskhan is banned. It's actually pretty high up last time I checked on the Uber's usage. I don't know how high up it is, but I know a lot of people do use it. Because I mean, it's still good in Ubers. Like a +2 return. What's going to take a +2 return even in Ubers?
Giratina.
Well, Giratina. Press on. That's because Giratina is Giratina. That's when you run Crunch.
But look at this.
I don't know what.
It's taking 50-60%. Earthquake is taking that much. And actually, Sucker Punch has a 60% chance to OKO it at times too. +2. So even Giratina hardly stands up. But then again, Will-O-Wisp. So
You'd probably be defensive, yeah.
Yeah. But even Lugia, multi-scale, it just dies. It's like Greninja versus Dragonite. It doesn't live.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Try to find the Uber's usage here.
So is that it? Is that it?
That's all I have to say.
I think we're good.
Yeah, that's it.
Alright, so the next Pokemon we will be elaborating on will be none other than Genesect. And let me just go ahead and throw my point out here. To me, honestly, the reason why, this is how I feel. I may be completely wrong, no doubt. I may be completely wrong, but this is how I feel. If it wasn't for so many trash players outshining the good players in OU, not saying I'm good or anything like that, but maybe Genesect would still be here. Because it's kind of common sense to just run Heatran. I mean, yeah, I understand creativity and you want to have fun, but it's common sense to stick a Heatran on your team if Genesect is that much of a threat. Because look at it like this. We have kids we had kids complaining, every single day, about how Genesect is too powerful and everything, and how it should be in Ubers and stuff like that. So, I mean, in my opinion, if it wasn't for some trash players and etc., maybe Genesect would still be here. And then to look at it usage-wise, Genesect was used a lot, so they could have banned him for usage because tiers are based on usage as well. Besides power, and Genesect was almost on every single team.
Yeah, they don't. But for OU to Shiku,
Yeah.
OU to Ubers,
Yeah.
It's not based on.
Yeah, it's based on.
Not
It can't be based on.
It can't be
based on
used
both.
so. It can't be used so much that it's used to Ubers.
Oh yeah. Then Rotom Wash would be Ubers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
Well,
they suspect
But then
it on
again,
pliability.
you're seeing it on
Like,
every team though,
that's right.
and like it sometimes changes the game. I guess.
It gets
You know what?
competitive.
Let me shut up. All right, Cal, it's your turn.
All right. Well, there's some things I can answer to what you said. I personally don't think Genesect was a threat because, as Fox said before we got started, if you don't know how to type in Heatran into your team builder, then you should just get off the simulator and play some UU because that's where you deserve to be.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I understand that limits the creativity and the diversity of the metagame, but even then, while that's like a hard counter and completely destroys anything Genesect could dream of doing, it still didn't do particularly that much to anything else either. U-turn is like the only physical thing that it would be inclined to carry, and that does nothing to the very common things such as Chansey. And there's several other walls that can fit in that same boat. It's also huge weakness policy, Aegislash-bait. That thing will flamethrower on Aegislash every day, and it will never kill, and then it will get destroyed. It's like, it's predictable, because we all know what it's carrying. It's all Scarf, Volt Beam, Flamethrower, U-turn, every time, 100% of the time, that is the set. Actually, I'm not kidding. I mean, I am kidding. But that's the most common set.
Yeah.
But
It's the best set. Like if you're not running that, you might as well.
yeah, there's some flash cannon, but that's not optimal. That's not like insane coverage,
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
people usually
Cliff.
run mixed with Iron Head.
Yeah, they will also if like it's not gonna handle fairies. But in addition, wow, I completely lost my train of thought. The argument that was brought up just now, they say that Genesect was used so much, and I'm reading this thing right now in front of me. It says it was ranked number 1 in all usage when it was used.
Yeah, that's what I was saying
That's
earlier.
its playability. Yeah, its playability is like an offensive variant to an offensive counterpart to Rotom Wash. It fits on every team, and it can do its job perfectly. But it's not, that doesn't make it broken. I mean, it's not like we're all forced to use Genesect, or we're all forced to have a Genesect counter. It's not like that. It's just good. It's not broken. It's not like it limits creativity because we're not obligated to use it, although we can, and it's a great idea. So it's not like it's restricting the metagame at all. It's just providing a great option.
Well, I agree with both people, what both Kaz and Shiku are saying. It didn't really deserve to be banned. And I think the reason why they banned it is because, really, if you think about it, the meta wasn't really formed yet. It was basically like, everyone was using Talonflame and Genesect and Rotom. So it was like, you saw those be the most common, and it was like, every team had those, so I guess that's why people complain. But people should just know, Genesect's most popular. Let me counter the most top-tier threat with Heatran. And it's not even Heatran's a bad Pokemon. Heatran's a really good Pokemon. It also counters fucking Talonflame. Talonflame was another really big Pokemon that people were complaining about. So it's like you're countering 2 Pokemon with 1 Pokemon. And like people said, oh, it limits creativity. Well, I wouldn't really say that because, like Kaz said, 90% of them run Scarf, Bolt Beam, U-Turn, and Flamethrower, and it's like you just and it's just like
Why would I limit myself because of not using the good mods because of creativity?
exactly.
If I want to use my freaking Heat Ran to counter Genesect, I'm gonna use my Heat Ran. I don't care about if I'm being creative or not. I like Heat Ran to counter Genesect. There's no reason why I shouldn't use it.
There are some people that do not share that same opinion, though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, I guess because of its diverse move pool, and like people thought it was such a diverse move pool and that it could just completely destroy everything that it should be ban worthy. Like, if anything, you can be more creative with Genesect itself. With this expanding move pool, it got Bolt Beam, Flamethrower, Bug Buzz, Shift Gear, Rock Polish, Giga Drain, Energy Ball, any hidden power, even though you shouldn't run hidden power on Genesect unless it's no, just don't run hidden power on Genesect. I'm stupid.
Doesn't it get explosion?
It gets explosion. You can even run banded Genesect. It gets
You can even
Blaze
you
Kick.
can use,
Blaze
you can
Kick.
even use like the what's the blast thing? Like you can use like the tries.
Oh.
Yeah, the chill drive.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
Jazz
You get-
drive.
Like another reason where people were like annoyed with it is because people were starting running the water drive to kill Heatran. I don't really agree with that because I've never seen anyone use that ever.
I mean, if you're gonna use that, then then you can't kill something else
Exactly.
because you're using a move slot.
In my opinion, if you're gonna run that type of Genesect, I would just run Rotom Wash. Honestly.
Yeah.
Or
It
any
gets-
water type.
Yeah.
just water.
Well, because Rotom gets electric and a strong water move, and it can just come in on just about anything Heatran like. Well, not, I don't know, but Steak Grass.
Yeah.
I don't know. But still, I didn't think Genesect needed to be banned. I think it was just fine.
I think the difference between Genesect and the three others we mentioned is that Genesect actually has counters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's actually quite a few counters to Genesect, and if you don't want to use them, I mean, that's your problem. Like, I mean, I know that's an uncommon opinion sometimes, but like, if you choose not to run counters to a good Pokemon because you want to be creative, and that Pokemon trashes you and you lose, well, you kind of deserved it.
Yeah.
Because you've completely had the option to counter this Pokemon, and you decided not to. So it doesn't need to be banned because you decided you don't want to counter it to be creative.
I would like to add something. It's not like you're running an obscure counter like Sableye or something like that, or like or defensive Garchomp, or something like along those lines. You're running a popular OU Pokemon to counter another OU Pokemon. It's not hard logic. It's like
Heatran's a really good Pokemon.
Exactly.
I really like it.
it's extremely good at what it does. It's just a really good Pokemon. It counters a lot of things. It has really good typing. It has extremely good bulk, and a really good special attack stat to back it up. So like, if you're not using Heatran and you're complaining and bitching about Genesect,
Yeah.
then just
I mean, it's not even just Heatran. Like Kaz brought up, you can use Chansey. like-
Chansey.
Like,
I don't know
like
about-
there's quite a
Chansey
few other
wasn't
counters
used
to
then.
it, but
Think
like,
about it. Chansey wasn't used back then.
I mean,
Well, yeah, it was you at the time. It was you at the
Actually, I
time.
I mean, it
A lot
could
of-
be.
No.
Well,
no,
yeah.
no, no.
Well, now
No, it's
no, it's you.
Yeah, it's you.
Well, now since like the meta's completely formed, and like since everyone's using Chansey now instead of Blissey, which is the smart thing to do, and Heatran's, I think, is Heatran being used more or no? I can't. Well,
Yeah. It's being
Heatran's still
used.
being used. It's not like Heatran dropped after Genesect.
Yeah, like the thing is, this is what I don't get either. Like the Venusaur and Heatran ran together. People complain about Genesect, but then again, they see like Heatran still being used along with Venusaur. Like I don't get it honestly. Like I mean, but whatever, man. There's nothing we can do
I
about
just
it.
feel like there's so many ways to deal with Genesect. And the thing is with Genesect it was just really good at generating momentum. You're never gonna get just outright swept by a Genesect. It's not that good a mod. Because it's not it can be a sweeper, but it's not often a sweeper. It's like
Yeah.
more used to Pokemon to generate
It's
momentum.
more, it's more of a Scarfer or a choice. It's more of a choice Pokemon.
A choice momentum generating type Pokemon.
But I mean,
It was one of the Pokemon that utilizes like Full Turn with stuff like Rotom and any Landorus form, or any it was
Like
just one of those
Scizor, I
Pokemon.
guess.
Scizor. Well, I don't know about running Scizor and Genesect.
Well, yeah, that's right.
I know what you mean by that. It's a good example.
but
I really have nothing more to say on Genesect.
I just have one thing to say. Just to bring back a point that was said, I believe about Mechanics going on Fog's part. I don't really remember. I forgot, but he said that if you have a variety of checks, they mean nothing if you don't have a counter. Well, in this case, Genesect does have a counter, so the checks become even better for Genesect because you have that collective balance to just work, basically.
Yeah.
It's a different situation or scenario.
And it's like any check to start Genesect is anything that's base 100 up. So it's really not that difficult to run up. Usually people run base 100 Scarfers and up. Or even if it's E-Belt for a surprise factor. There's other stuff that, take advantage, to just check it.
And I think, the thing is with Genesect, if you're bringing a Pokemon in on it, it's usually already going to be locked in, and it's a good Pokemon. I mean, you can use it against, like, a setup bait, or, it's obviously going to be locked in. 99% of the time, you can bank on it being locked into a move, so it's really easy to switch into once it's already attacked. And it's also really easy to predict what it does, because it uses the same 4 moves every time. And people are really obvious with it.
But then, there's always that one guy that's gonna run Shift Gear and then completely physical Genesect. That's the only thing.
But the physical coverage is not great.
Yeah,
Steel Bug
exactly.
and Fire, but if you want to run E-Speed, then you don't even get that.
And that still loses to Heat Ram.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't literally destroy
You're still gonna... if you're bringing a Heat Ram and Shift Gear, it's like, oh crap, I might take some Iron Head damage now. That's disappointing.
Leftovers. Blaze Kick, Flash Fire.
Yeah. I don't think Genesect was good enough to be banned. I think people just kind of got they just kind of got butthurt too quick about it. I'll be honest, I was in that butthurt group. I use Genesect all the time. I'm like, I can't deal with this anymore. And now looking back in 2020 vision, you look at how the game is shaped now, and you look at how Genesect plays. I don't think Genesect would be that big a deal.
I think it kind of needs to make a return, because the way it's forming right now and the way people want the meta to go, I think it's just going to be a stall fest. If they want all the stall breakers or the wall breakers to go, they might as well just bring down Genesect to help around. If they're going to suspect Aegis Flash, if they're going to suspect Zardex, if they're going to suspect Genies, and they're just going to make it a complete stall fest like Yu-Yu. I don't want to play Yu-Yu and OU.
Let's go ahead and move this along.
It's beat this horse enough.
Alright, so the next thing we would like to talk about is the current things being suspected, if I'm correct, which are deoxys defense and deoxys speed. So I'm going to talk about deoxys defense first. First thing is first, deoxys defense, honestly, in my opinion, he isn't that much of a threat, because things like Bisharp exist in Mawile, and these things can easily set up, and I understand you can run a red card, which most people run, but Bisharp and Mawile can easily set up on them. And I'm just naming 2 Pokemon which could be irrelevant. I mean, not everyone runs them, but I'm just saying it's easy to set up on a Deoxys in my opinion and just sweep the rest of his team, the opponent's team. But then that just depends on who you're going against. So I really don't have anything to say about Deoxys defense. So yeah.
I think that both Deoxys cases speak for themselves, for whether you think that it should be or shouldn't be. The thing with Deoxys D is that it's almost 100% reliable to successfully get its hazards up. I mean, is that worthy of being banned? I don't know. Yeah, for base 90 taunter, it's pretty good.
Or even a prank taunter like Thunderous.
I mean, is that worth banning? I mean, the problem is that it's also used in conjunction with Bisharp, which is a great combo. Deosharp, yeah, that template, but I mean, it's really good, but are we gonna ban it? Really? I mean, is that necessary?
It's not necessary.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I intended to actually do some more research on it because, like, I don't understand the other perspective. But right now, with my knowledge and my observations made of the OU metagame as I have played it, much like a lot of other people, I'm not really seeing it here. I'm not really seeing it.
Well, like, my opinion on Deoxys defense is, like, it's like a better version of Fortress, in a way. It gets 2 prime hazards, and it almost always, because of its bulk, sets up its hazards. Like, I don't think, like, usually they lead with it, so unless you're Genesect, you're never, or like a download user, you're never gonna get a +1 and kill it. And it's almost always gonna get its hazard up. I think the only reason why people are complaining is with a Deosharp. Because it just, everyone uses Defog. Like, if you're complaining about Deosharp, don't use Defog. Use something like Rapid Spin, even though Rapid Spin's kind of outclassed by Defog. But if you're really against Deosharp, just don't use Defog. That's what I think. And like, people are running like, and Deoxys most of the time is setup fodder, unless it's running like Taunt or Thunder Wave or even a red card. I haven't really seen red card Deoxys. I see Mental Hurt just to get its hazards up, but it can get set up by a lot of common Pokemon in the OU metagame. I just don't. Yeah, I agree. I don't really see the point of like banning it.
Fog. He just said 1 second. So basically, improv here.
Yeah, improv. Okay, I'm back.
Alright.
Deoxys D. Okay. I'm kind of salty about Deoxys D because I lost to a choice man Deoxys D once, and that kind of pissed me off. But the thing is with Deoxys D, like, everybody's like, oh, Deosharp's so good. I've never saw a Deosharp team until the Suspect. And like, whoop-de-doo, it can set up hazards. Well, once you break through the Deoxys, and you kind of like get later on, like, the hazards aren't that hard to remove. Like, how hard are hazards to remove nowadays? Like, it's really easy to get hazards off the field, because you really think about it, like, oh, I can bring a Bishop on defog. Well, you can run Rapid Spin, like, I mean, Lando said that Rapid Spin's outcost by defog, but when you look at it, I mean, how many ghost types are really running around nowadays? Because a lot of people, you know, kind of mandatory, like, kind of kept that ghost type for Rapid Spin. With defog, I feel it's kind of become a lot less popular, so I don't feel there's any reason not to run Rapid Spin. I feel like Rapid Spin defog will just kind of go up and down in usage as the metagame trends towards whatever people are using at the time. So I honestly see no problem with Deoxys D.
Well, like, and another thing to add on like the Rapid Spin note, it's not like all Rapid Spinners are trash. Well, 2 of them are, but you have Excadrill. Excadrill's a monster.
Yeah,
It's not
number 5
threatened
in the usage.
Yeah, it's not threatened at all by Deosharp. It kind of destroys Deosharp if you look at it. You bring it in on Deoxys, they remove the hazards. Excadrill, what's the thing's name? Bisharp. Can't switch in, it dies to Earthquake. And it's not like all Rapid Spinners are trash. Starmie's pretty good, Tentacle's pretty good, Fortress is really not that good, Donphan's not that good. That's all I really wanted to say.
I mean, even then, even though defog is like a huge, you have to use it cautiously. I mean, you can usually tell when a Bisharp is going to come in on an obvious defog and act accordingly. It's just called making plays.
It's just called not being obvious.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna bring in your Mandibuzz or whatever on a Deoxys D, and then think you're gonna defog when there's a Bisharp on the other side, good luck with that. Have fun getting set up. Have fun with your +2 Bisharp problem now, because you're kind of screwed.
Yeah. And I think like another reason is because most Deoxys D teams are hyper offense, because it's a suicide lead. And like 99% of the time, you're gonna see a Deoxys with Bisharp, Landorus, Thundurus, Mawile. 99% of the time, that's the standard thing they run. And maybe like, no, if they run Mawile, they're not gonna run Charizard form. But like, that's the only thing I can really see. Like, it just runs like a really powerful hyper offense, and like people just complain about it getting a Tazers up. Like they say, oh, it runs Mental Herb now. Not all of them run Mental Herb. Like, it's just not that big of a problem, in my opinion.
So that's it for alright. So now we talk about Deoxys speed, and on this I don't have nothing to say honestly either, because once again I don't have that much experience with it. I've tried using it before, but that's horrible. That failed horrible because I'm not good with using Deoxys. But in my opinion, Deoxys speed, I see that it's good and everything, but from my experience with it, it's shit trash to me. It's just trash. I mean, I get it could set up his counter. I get it could taunt things, but it's shit because he's frail as fuck. A fucking bullet punch is taking him out like he's gone.
Frail?
Basically. I'm talking about,
It's base 90 defensive.
That's not that bad.
but no, look, these are basically 2-hit KOs and it's gone though. Come on now.
Wait, you're saying it dies to everything. It's not a Deoxys attack.
Well,
I mean, it can literally hit.
Hold on, let me check this real quick.
It's not like it dies to rack.
Kaz, you begin.
It's like base, it has like base 90.
Kaz, you go ahead and begin.
Well, I'm just going to reiterate the same thing that I had started out with. I intended to do a little bit more research just so that I can make a logical claim. But, yeah. So, basically, the problem that I foresee with Deoxys S, just to get it out there, I can perfectly understand why it would and why it wouldn't leave OU. The thing is, it's faster than most Scarfs. Base 105 Jolly Scarfs barely outspeeded, barely. And so when you look at that, that's just pretty insane. That's where it gets like, sure you can say, oh, it's just fast, whatever. Well, I mean, that's where it gets outrageous when not even a Scarf, your average Scarf, is even gonna outspeed it. I mean, even then, Jolly Scarf isn't, I don't know, you can compromise your offensive capabilities if you want to run Modest or Adamant, in which you're not outspeeding a Deoxys speed. It can taunt if you try to stop it with an additional taunt of your own, and because it's faster than everything, it can run Stash and Variant. It's likely to get its hazards up, and just by switching out and going back in, it's guaranteed more hazards up because of its offensive pressure that it can provide with Psycho Boost, Ice Beam, Superpower Knockoff, and overall good coverage. It can force switches, and on those obvious switches, you can get additional hazards up throughout the course of the match. With that being said, not only is it setting up hazards turn 1, but it's also fulfilling a niche that allows it to revenge kill whatever you have on your team with stab, base 1 something, powered Psycho Boost. I mean, that's pretty powerful. Looking at the metagame, if I were to think about it, is that enough to make it banned? Maybe. I'd have to think about it, and I think a lot of people also have to think about it. But from this perspective right now, I can see either way why people would want it gone and why people would not.
Well, like, my opinion on the Deoxys S is like...
Go ahead.
You can go. It's alright.
Oh, alright. So
you can go, it's alright.
For me, though, it's only doing one thing. That's in my opinion. You can switch out, yeah, because most people run statues, but it's only doing one thing.
You're just gonna die.
Huh? Alright, anyways, I was saying, it's only doing one thing in my opinion, because if you see Deoxys speed, you're gonna run something that counters it, because most likely on your team, you're running something to smack it. So it's only gonna be able to either taunt you, then go for his rocks or something, or just go ahead and take out a threat that you possess, like Psycho Boost or whatever, however you pronounce it. That is doing a whole lot of damage to just about anything other than maybe Chauncey, however you prefer me to say it. You know, it's pretty much, it's still doing good damage to it, and that's all I have to say. But then again, I can't speak because I don't know much about it, and you know, I really can't talk about it.
Like, my opinion on Deoxys is like, Well, I haven't really started using it until the suspect thing started around, so this is on deoxys speed. I've used deoxys D before, but deoxys speed I haven't really used before, and I really don't like the hazard setting set, so I tried the life warp set. The life warp set is amazing. Like, it outspeeds Scarf Chomp, like Cal said, and kills it with Ice Beam. And outspeeds a lot of things at +1 speed, like common setup sweepers, and can just kill it. Another thing that I realized, this is gonna be like a little far-fetched kind of, but like, the only kind of like setup hazarding Deoxys D I've used is, Deoxys S I use is a dual screen, and that's for something like a baton pass, which is actually kind of still a big thing. Like, basically you leave with DOS, set up your screens, it dies. You go into something like a smash passer or like something like that, you set it up, and then you can just pass and destroy a whole team. I've used it, it works like that. Like, I think it's kind of iffy. Like, I don't know if I want it banned because I like the life orb set too much. It's just my opinion. But then I kind of want it banned because it's just so fast. And it's also.
Well.
I'm alright. I'm good.
Yeah.
Alright, I guess I'll talk. The problem I think I have with deoxys speed, I don't care about the like, the thing is, all these people are like, oh, it sets up hazards. Hazards aren't as hard to deal with as people like to put it out to be. Hazards are kind of easily dealt with. The problem I have is that if you run offensive, it's essentially a Scarfer that doesn't have to have a Scarf, run Life Orb, and then can destroy your entire team. Like, as Kaz pointed out, you have to be over base 105 with a plus speed nature to outspeed it, and it outspeeds and kills most of the common Scarfers, most of the common +1 users. So it just, offensively, it's just one of those huge threats. I mean, it's also one of those things where it kind of can get walled, but it's got almost perfect coverage. Like, Shiku brought up Chansey, but you're probably gonna run Superpower, and Superpower's
Well, yeah, knockoff and superpower.
knockoff Superpower is gonna mess your day up.
I think the only thing it has trouble with is that lags Fire Punch or HP Fire. Scissor becomes a problem. Like the bulky SD Scissor becomes a problem. But like,
It's like the Life Orb said, like, it's got near perfect coverage, and I think that's why I kind of don't like it that much. The one thing I thought about this, I thought was kind of weird about the Deoxys suspects, like, you never see them usually. Like, people kind of misuse Deoxys speed a lot, I think. Like, I think the reason it's going to get banned is because of the hazards, but the reason I feel it should be banned is because of its offensive capabilities are just ridiculous when you consider them.
Mm-hmm.
Like a stab Psycho Boost with Life Orb Boost, my god, that you're hard pressed to live that. And I mean, you can bring in your Dark type, but then they run Superpower to cover that.
Exactly.
And you're not going to be locked in with Scarf because you got Life Orb, you don't need Scarf.
Like,
Yeah.
Right, so now we will be talking
things
about...
that are gonna be that are speculated to be okay.
Oh. So, alright, so, back to what I was saying though. Alright, so now we will be talking about what we believe, will be suspected next. And first off, for me, you know, a lot of people say Rotom will be suspected. I've heard craziness like that, but that's just, straight out crazy foo-foo bullshit. Cause that's just dumb. Rotom has too many counters and etc. So, you know, you can't say that. And one thing for me that may, I repeat, may be banned, maybe, possibly, is, actually nothing. You know what, I don't even think anything could be banned. I don't, honestly.
If you said special landers, I was gonna put that.
Nah, man, nah. The only thing. Oh wait, I remember now. Weedle is the only thing that could be. I think that will be banned. Weedle, because if you look at it like this,
Weedle has no counter.
String Shot is wrecking all. You know, is just wrecking all one hit KO. So yeah, Kaz, go ahead and
Like,
speak.
you know,
like people aren't like since
by
Genesis
poison
is banned,
True.
I was gonna mention that the only real counter for it is Heat Ram, but since Genesect is gone, kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, the poison sting bug bite coverage is just, the meta can't handle it.
It also gets EQ.
That just destroys its only counter being heat train.
Yeah,
So.
true. I can see a handful of things getting a suspect. I don't know if they will pass. Like, I can see Charizard, like, they making a Charizard clause, maybe some type of item preview idiocy. I don't know. But I can see that some type of thing, especially because the big issue with Lucario is unpredictability and what set it's running. So I can see that a similar argument being made at the small gun level with Charizard's identification. Another thing, I can see even Mega Pinsir and Mega Mawile getting a suspect. I don't know if neither would probably pass, but I can see it at least getting a suspect maybe down the line. That's about it though.
From what I hear is going to be suspected, I hear my favorite Pokemon Landers. I heard that's going to be suspected. I'm going to be, if it gets banned, I'm going to flip out. Thunders is going to be suspected. Another one of my favorite Pokemon. Something, I don't know why, recently people are bitching about Aegislash. That's retarded. It's like, sure, it's one of the best Pokemon in OU, it's S rank, that doesn't deserve a suspect. I mean, like, I don't see any reason for it to be suspected. Another Pokemon, it's not Charizard itself, but people are also talking about Zard X. I don't know.
It's not even the relevant one.
Exactly. It's like not even the thing that gets people like. And if you notice, with all 4 of these Pokemon, well, maybe I don't know. Most of these Pokemon kind of rate stall, like when Thundurus, Pranks of Taunt and T-Wave kind of shuts down a lot of things that are installed. Landorus is just powerful. Destroys itself. Zard X, if it gets up to +1 or 2, not much really can take a hit, but still you have priority to destroy it. What I think should be suspected is Mega Mawile.
True.
I think it's crazy. It has huge attack stat. It gets
Kind of slow though.
It's slow,
It's downfall.
but it has priority.
Yeah, with Sucker Punch, but
Rotom,
It also,
Rotom
like-
could shut it down,
things can deal
but
with
then again, it has huge.
Heatran could
huge
shut it down.
power.
Yeah, Heatran is the primary count.
Yeah, Heatran is the primary. Yeah, primary.
Yeah, like, what do they run? They run, what do they run? Fire Fang, Player Up, Iron Head, Sucker Punch. Still have Focus Punch sometimes.
I use the Focus Punch more than
Yeah, I
anything.
use that too.
Is
So,
that
like,
even, that's not even stoppable. I can't even. Nothing stops that.
Heatran evaporates.
Even at
Like, everything just dies. It doesn't even have to run Swords Dance.
Yeah.
true.
Honestly, like, I think looking at OU, we kind of have to wait until Alpha Sapphire Omega Ruby comes out, because we're going to get probably move tutors and all that. Swampert's going to suck.
Yeah.
Sceptile's going to suck too.
I just realized something.
Like, they're both I don't think there's going to be any in Mega Sableye. Awful. The 3 Megas we know about right now are absolute trash.
Absolute shit.
But like the move tutors, we might get something good. Like, I could see us getting maybe like a random like a defog move tutor or something stupid like that, and then we have like a defog Rocks Lando T or something, and people get all butthurt about that. But honestly, I don't think there's anything that needs to be banned. Like, there's nothing that's like too threatening past
But again,
what's
we
already
don't know
suspected
until
that
it
I think
happens.
needs
So
to
it's
go.
too far. It's too far from now to say.
Exactly.
You know.
Well, I mean, Omega Ruby Sapphire is close enough that we can speculate, but I mean,
I just realized if there's a superpower move tutor, Talonflame, superpower, hello? T-Tar just dies, Heatran just dies. Like, Rotom Washes, I think Rotom Washes 2 KO'd. It seems like if you're running Adamant Band, which is every Talonflame except for Swords Dance.
or Bulk Up, which is,
I like Bulk Up. Bulk Up's cool.
I don't like Bulk God, that's just.
Anyways, we are getting that is off track and besides the point. So, yeah.
Because Telegram sucks and should never be suspect.
Hold on now.
Exactly.
Do not be talking about my channel mascot, okay? Alright? You don't go to. No. Don't do that. Alright. So,
What happens
I'm telling you that I'm telling you it's more predictable than any Pokemon I know you right now.
Well, it doesn't have a good move pool.
Okay, let's just not get off track.
yeah,
here.
man.
Alright, yeah, you have a
Yeah, that's true.
So, we
Yeah,
covered
basically
everything.
we covered everything.
Any agenda?
So, guys, the man Darman the Flame, this is pretty much it. Hope you all enjoyed it. First thing is first, please smack that like button. Comment any thoughts that you have off of this video, anything you want to add on to us. You know, feel free to do it. I like to hear your thoughts, but don't be offended if I come back at you. Nah, I'm just playing. Feel free to say whatever you want to say, you know. And so anything you guys want to say before I
He's not
hit
playing at
F10?
Subscribe to Hidden Power Flying at http://youtube.com/Hidden Power Flying.
Alright.
Quick Ben Weedle.
Subscribe to my channel, Shiku. You better put in the description because I'm
Of
not
course, man.
spelling it out for anybody.
What I meant to say, what I meant to say.
Takes more
Everybody,
out.
shut up, shut up,
Be
shut
here
up,
for
shut
like
up,
another
shut up.
hour.
Alright, what I meant to say was, everyone, be sure to check
haven't
out these
finished my
guys'
song
channel.
off yet.
Stop talking over me. Everyone, be sure to check out these guys' channels, because, you know, they upload good stuff, they put work into their stuff, and, you know, check them out, because, you know, I will have that
I
link
don't
in the description, so, yeah.
I don't
We use good mons. We don't use like Darmanitan, Talonflame. We don't use any of those.
We use actual Pokemon and not Digimon.
Yeah.
What?
We don't use Pokemon like Landorus or bullshit.
Please.
Well, bye.
Uh,
I like just ending
Wait,
so
wait, I didn't hit it yet. Wait,
Podcast.
everybody say bye on
Bye.
3. Okay, 1, 2,
Alright.
3.
Bye. Oh.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Darmanitan.
Bye.
You can pay me.
Darmanitan sucks.
Bye. What? Bye.
Darmanitan brand new.